This is News 8 Now this morning.
I don't really know how to react to it. I mean, I'm sad, and I wish that it wouldn't have happened.
Insulation is going to be really crucial, but it's not going to go and do the trick 100%. You should also have a heat source. So if you have some place that's susceptible to going and getting a lot of breeze and a lot of air coming through where it might go and freeze up that pipe, make sure that there's some type of heat source there.
I really hope that there are more programs like this that become available to inmates all over the DOC system, because it really is so beneficial to inmates to grow and improve themselves.
And that was your eye-opener. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for watching News 8 Now this morning. I'm Ken Kozorowski, and Derek Sibley joins us as always. It is 6 a.m. on this Tuesday, December 27th, 2022. I actually just realized with me and our assistant Phil off to the side, Badger football plays tonight. I almost completely forgot about that, so that's on the docket.
Can't forget about that.
At 9:15 o'clock tonight, so if you got some late plans, everybody, there you go. I just made them for you. And on the weather front, Derek, still cold, but later this week could be nice.
That's right, Ken. We're going to be expecting much more milder temperatures, so at least we have that. Unfortunately, we still kind of have to get through this last bit of Arctic air still kind of moving in, or still kind of hanging around the Coulee region. As of right now, City Cam 8 is looking quiet, but current temperatures, well, it does definitely feel like the Arctic, right? We got current readings into the single digits, 5 degrees in Sparta, 7 in Black River Falls. It's 9 degrees to the west, though, in Winona. And when you factor in the wind chill, it makes it feel like it's 9 below currently in La Crosse, and we got a feel like temperature of 5 below this morning to the north in Eau Claire. Some clouds moving in around the Coulee region now from the northwest, as you can see here behind me, and we expect this trend to really continue, it looks like, here through much of the day. Skies mainly cloudy is what we'll call it, with temperatures in the single digits through 9. And then as we head into the late morning and into the early afternoon, we start warming up into the teens, followed by the 20s around 1 o'clock. And it looks like with those temperatures in the afternoon to the 20s should continue at least through the evening hours. That south wind is going to be really important, kind of a key ingredient, if you will, Ken, with those temperatures expected to warm up later this week, and we'll get to that a little bit later.
All right. Thanks very much, Derek. All right, let's get to some news on this Tuesday morning. A Christmas morning fire destroyed a Genoa restaurant and claimed the lives of 2 cats. People in Big River Bar and Grill and the tenant in the upstairs apartment were able to evacuate. Several area fire departments worked together to haul in water and put out the fire. It burned for close to 8 hours before it was completely out, though the cause is still under investigation. No one is injured after a man reportedly fired a gun on La Crosse's north side. It happened around 5 o'clock on Christmas Day near Avon and Clinton Streets. Witnesses told police 33-year-old Luke Springer of Fort Worth, Texas, was driving carelessly, and when Springer was approached about it, he fired a gun. Police say Springer was intoxicated and that the shooting is an isolated incident. Springer is being held in the La Crosse County Jail on several charges, including first-degree recklessly endangering safety. Police in Iowa fatally shot a 16-year-old boy they say was armed. It happened early Monday morning. Officers responded to a domestic dispute. When they arrived, they say the boy had the gun and pointed it in the direction of officers. More than one of the officers fired their gun at the boy, who died at the scene. One neighbor says he heard the shots and drove away as fast as he could.
I don't really know how to react to it. I mean, I'm sad, and I wish that it wouldn't have happened.
The officers in question have been with the department for 5 years, and their body cameras were recording. A Good Samaritan says his day was made when he saved a stranded couple along the side of an Iowa road.
We had someone go off recently.
This is what storm chaser Clarence Smith ran into on Highway 69 near Jewel Friday morning.
Yeah, it's pretty intense right now. I don't know if you can see the telephone wire just shaking like crazy.
A real-life blizzard and a Webster City couple stuck in their car after it slid into the ditch.
We had probably arrived 5 minutes after it happened. So I think we were both lucky, and everyone was lucky they didn't actually hit one of us or anyone else.
An energy company worker was the first on the scene. The two talked about what to do.
I think we should even try pulling them out with all this weather.
The worker told Smith a couple in their 70s were on their way from Webster City to a doctor's appointment in Ames, but the wind and snow was too powerful.
That wind really felt like it was just going to take your legs out from under you.
Smith got out and the two decided to rescue the stranded driver and his wife and give them a ride since there was a tow ban in place. The wife was first.
I'm not going to help your husband. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And then her husband, both grateful.
They were glad that we were both there, and the shock of it I think was still wearing off a little bit for them to sort of wrap their head around it all.
The rescuers drove the couple to a Casey's a few miles away where the sheriff's deputy took over.
I'm sure that's not anything less than a traumatic experience.
Smith has been a storm chaser for decades, and he has one bit of good advice. Don't take chances.
You can be here in Des Moines and have no idea a blizzard's going on, and you get, a mile or two out of town, and it's just whiteout conditions.
Yeah, basically no visibility with that video at all. And Smith usually chases tornadoes, but that was actually his first blizzard. He's just happy he could help out. Well, the recent stretch of frigid weather is also keeping local plumbers pretty busy. Below freezing temperatures can cause water in pipes to freeze, which then cause the pipes themselves to burst. The owner of 608 Plumbing says the biggest issues he sees are pipes that are installed incorrectly or put where they shouldn't be. Pipes in or near outer walls can freeze much easier, and the owner says if a cold air breeze from a window is hitting your pipes, they could also freeze.
Insulation is going to be really crucial, but it's not going to go and do the trick 100%. You should also have a heat source. So if you have some place that's susceptible to going and getting a lot of breeze, and a lot of air coming through where it might go and freeze up that pipe, make sure that there's some type of heat source there.
Gunderson also recommends keeping a little water running so it doesn't have the chance to freeze, and make sure you unhook your outdoor hoses if you haven't yet. As we started to see a consistency in below zero temperatures, Minnesota shelters are making the effort to bring people experiencing homelessness in from the cold. David Schumann tells us about one city shelter that's making a difference in people's lives.
OJ has lived on the streets before during a Minnesota winter.
Kind of hurts, like you're just frozen, and it just feels like sometimes it feels like you're gonna die.
But not this Christmas. He's been at Avivo Village in Minneapolis for 3 months, a shelter with 100 tiny homes where people can stay until they have their own housing. During this recent cold snap, Avivo's in what it calls an emergency overflow situation, housing people in its facility beyond the tiny homes.
We have about 20 right now, and we absolutely could accommodate more. If people come to our doors, we're not going to turn them away. It is dangerous outside.
Avivo says it has outreach teams going tent to tent in the city's homeless encampments.
Making sure that folks are safe and trying to encourage them to come inside. And we're not the only outreach team doing that. There are other outreach teams in the community doing that as well.
For those who are here, they can get into the holiday spirit with festive decorations and Christmas movie marathons.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, with family or something, of course. I mean, I remember days like that when things were good, but I'm here today, and I appreciate it. Even this.
OJ says he ended up here after losing everything in a bad divorce. He's working on getting an apartment to call his.
This is the place that, this helped me. I got confidence now. I'm okay, now I can face this world.
Avivo hopes it can be that lifeline for others as well, but staff members say with a little compassion, we can all make a difference during this season of giving.
Because it's so cold right now, if you're outside and you see someone, don't just drive by. Make a call to 911 or reach out so that someone can check on them.
And Bastian says they accept donations of socks, sheets, blankets, and pillows, as well as monetary donations. Avivo has helped move more than 100 people into permanent housing since it opened in 2020. The city has approved $1.2 million in new funding for next year. Time is now 6:08 on this Tuesday. Still ahead on your morning news, what experts say encouraged Americans to spend more this holiday season, and what you need to know to plan your 2023 budget now that the holiday shopping season is come and gone. That and more coming up after the break. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. A Wisconsin waitress worked Christmas Day just like she does every year, but this year she received an unexpected gift. Callie Blue serves customers in Sun Prairie just outside Madison, and this year she received a $1,000 tip. Michael Johnson, CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, pays it forward every year because he didn't have much growing up himself. Now every holiday season, he tries to make people's holiday a little more special. Callie said Johnson's generous act changed her view of the world. Don't go anywhere. More News 8 Now this morning is coming up after the break.
A few clouds across the Coulee region now, as you can see, moving in from the northwest, and this is kind of going to be the trend here today with those passing clouds moving around the Coulee region. Current temperatures, the way we stand now, still those single-digit readings with 5 degrees currently in La Crosse, but it does feel like it's 12 below zero currently in La Crosse when you factor in the wind chill. In fact, we got a feel-like temperature of -5. Not looking too comfortable there either in Eau Claire. Let's get checked now on your zone forecast. La Crosse County today, I think you'll like what you'll see, as high temperatures will at least be near seasonable, between around 22 to 26 degrees in La Crosse County, and more of the same can be said here across our south zones as well. It'll be 22 for you in Solders Grove. Meanwhile, to the north in Trepalo County, 23 in Arcadia. Meanwhile, further east Jackson County, 23 in Black River Falls. In Eau Claire County, 23 degrees in Eau Claire and 22 degrees in Altoona. So for your schoolcast this morning, 4 degrees here, partly cloudy skies, 18, partly cloudy conditions by lunch, and then mostly cloudy conditions this afternoon with temperatures at around 26 degrees. We'll have a look at your full weather forecast and we'll break down more about these temperatures and what is to come here with this warm-up trend that we're expecting.
Football watchers, listen up. Next season, NFL Sunday Ticket is going to have a new home. The NFL has reached a multi-year agreement to stream its Sunday games viewing package on YouTube. The subscription price has not yet been determined, and the NFL says it will be working with YouTube to determine distribution for commercial establishments such as bars. But since it was first launched back in 1994, Sunday Ticket has only been available on DirecTV, so quite a shakeup. As the holiday shopping season comes to a close, it might be time to set some financial goals for 2023. Experts say as we head into a new year, there are some money moves to consider.
We see the feds raising the rates on interest, and so things like credit card debt, personal loans, anything that has a variable interest rate is going to cost you more.
Into the new year. In the meantime, holiday sales grew this year by 7.6%, despite still stubbornly high prices due to inflation, according to data from MasterCard Spending Pulse. At still a lower pace than last year's growth of 8.5% right after the pandemic. This latest data, though, does not include auto industry sales and is not adjusted for inflation. The spirit of giving was not lost at La Crosse's Valley View Mall. News 8 Now's Emily Haugen spoke with 2 store managers who believe their stores offer more than a typical present.
Familiar stories have a way of connecting us.
And I think we learn stuff about ourselves through stories, so a lot of the things in here obviously represent that.
It brings people together, even through hard times. At PopCon in the Valley View Mall, Todd Wilson sells pop culture staples.
These are all like just things that make people feel better when they buy them. I always talked about this as being the merchandise equivalent of kind of comfort food.
He also wrestles with rising prices.
There's nothing in this store that doesn't cost us more than it did a year ago.
Familiar characters fuel his small business.
They see things and they remember things that they loved, and it puts them in a better frame of mind.
And on the day after Christmas, he's happy to see heavy foot traffic.
Most people leave here happier than when they came in, and that's the kind of vibe we're going for.
Down the hallway, Barnes & Noble is also buzzing.
This has been a little busier today than it has been before Christmas.
To store manager John Hoppy, it's clear that inflation hasn't stopped La Crosse shoppers.
It's just been really healthy. Even with the economy that says it's not too healthy, we're not seeing it at the register.
With plenty of people searching the shelves.
It feels like old times.
Though prices are rising, Hoppy thinks there's a good reason why people keep coming back.
If you're not going to binge Netflix, you're going to read. And I feel like that is an inexpensive way to escape reality.
Stores filled with people searching for stories, both familiar and new.
Thanks very much, Emily. And at PopCon, Wilson says this is their second biggest year yet, just after last year. And at Barnes & Noble, Hoppy says foot traffic is coming back to pre-pandemic levels. According to the National Retail Report, in-person shopping is up 6.8%. Got to get Derek at Cheesehead.
Wore my fair share of those cheeseheads yesterday. Thank you, Ken. City Cam 8 here behind me, looking pretty quiet. There is a bit of cloud cover, though, to work with overhead. Temperatures are around 5 degrees, a wind chill factor of -12, thanks to that south to southeast wind at around 13 miles an hour. Here at the station, we got a temperature of 5 degrees. Meanwhile, to the north in Eau Claire, it's looking a little cloudy here. Temperatures at around 8 degrees and a feel like temperature of -5 and a south wind blowing at around 9 miles an hour. Check out the temperatures here across the map. Well, I could tell you really just those single digits are being felt everywhere here this morning, and in some spots it does make it feel like we are currently below zero in some spots here this morning, thanks to the wind speeds here blowing around this morning too. Our highs today, though, should climb into those low to mid-20s. We are expecting 26 in La Crosse today, but 22 degrees to the north in Eau Claire. We do have some clouds moving in across the area from the northwest this morning. Overall conditions are looking partly to mostly cloudy, which, by the way, is expected to pretty much remain that way throughout the day today, with again mostly cloudy and 22 degrees by 4, partly cloudy 23 by around 8 o'clock this evening. And you'll see that here on Sky Tracker. As a matter of fact, those clouds here kind of increasing and then decreasing as we head throughout the day today, especially by this evening. We'll probably see the majority of those clouds move in, and then by tonight we get a break in some of those clouds. The majority of the overcast skies remaining to the north. You can see where that cutoff line is, where the cloudier skies exist, and then the less cloudy skies exist here for tomorrow morning around the area. And then we will be looking at temperatures warming up into the 30s as we head into tomorrow afternoon under partly to mostly cloudy skies. And this is a sign of what's to come with these temperatures. Check out what happens here tomorrow and Thursday. We're warming up into the low 40s, and in fact we're going to be at least staying into those mid-30s as we head into this weekend and perhaps even into early next week. And the reason being is because we're tracking a much warmer air mass expected to move its way north across the Coulee region as we head towards Wednesday and especially on Thursday, as we're watching this developing system here to the west, and that's going to help send in a southerly wind flow across the area, which is going to help make our temperatures feel much milder. You'll see that here on the 8-day forecast with highs in the low 40s Wednesday and Thursday, and then after that we at least will stick our high temperatures up into those mid to upper 30s here over these next 8 days. There is a chance of scattered showers on Thursday. Otherwise, enjoy the mild air with cloud cover looking mainly cloudy here for a while, and temperatures into the 20s and 30s for our lows during the morning. Stay with us, though. Much more news and weather still to come here on News 8 Now this morning. We are taking a quick break, though, to look at what happened on this day in history. We'll be right back. Well, temperatures this morning are into the single digits with 7 in Black River Falls, 6 in Sparta, 5 degrees the temperature in La Crosse, 8 degrees in Eau Claire. City Cam 8 looking quiet here behind me, a little bit bumpy there as far as the wind speeds here picking up go. Looking at some passing clouds across the Coulee region now coming from the northwest, and partly cloudy conditions will continue for the dog walking conditions out there. That will continue for your afternoon before turning mostly cloudy as we head into the evening hours, but overall pretty comfortable day out there for doing any dog walking conditions or really anything outside, really. We'll talk about your full weather forecast plus your commute forecast coming up in just a bit.
Welcome to the Blitz. Well, what a holiday weekend it was in the NFL. Both the Packers and Vikings getting big wins. Let's talk about the green and gold. About a month ago, the Packers fell to the Eagles. Just a few days after Thanksgiving, they were 4-8 at the time. Most fans would have said this team needs a Christmas miracle if they even want to come close to making the playoffs. Well, fast forward 4 weeks later, the Packers have not lost since. They've won 3 straight games, none bigger than Sunday's win in Miami. Green Bay needing a win to keep its playoff hopes alive, and the Pack gets it done. It was the defense stepping up big, especially in the second half. Down the stretch, the Packers D forcing turnover after turnover. 3 straight picks. Jair had one, Then it was Devondre Campbell joining the party. And on the final drive of the game, Rasul Douglas seals it for the green and gold. The Packers are still alive in the NFC. 26-20 the final on Sunday. Third straight win, and most importantly, their playoff push continues for another week.
It wasn't pretty. We all know that. It was not a pretty win, but we found a way. And that's, at the end of the day, that is what matters most.
I cannot wait for this one. Packers, Vikings, 3:25 kickoff Sunday from Lambeau. On the hardwood last night, Wolves looking to snap their two-game skid, taking on the Heat. Pick it up late second, game tied at 54. Jaden McDaniels on the break, moving and grooving to the hole. First one doesn't go, second one does. T-Wolves up 2. But the Heat go on a quick 5-0 run to end the half, capped off by this 3 from Max Strus. Heat up 3 to the fourth. Wolves down 5. Anthony Edwards off the glass, count it, +1. It's a 3-point game. Final seconds now, chance to tie, but the Wolves can't even get a shot off, and that'll do it. Minnesota loses a tough one on the road, 113-110. That'll do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
Welcome back. For the first time, Russian President Vladimir Putin says Moscow is ready for talks to end the 10-month-long war in Ukraine. Although he said that, Russia has continued its assault on the country, leaving peace a distant hope for now. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told U.S. lawmakers last week that there can be no compromise as long as Russia occupies any part of Ukraine. 3 buses of migrant families were dropped off near the home of Vice President Kamala Harris on Christmas Eve in record-setting cold. The buses were carrying around 110 to 130 people, some wearing T-shirts. The migrants were taken to a church where they stayed the night. Texas authorities have not confirmed their involvement, but the bus drop-offs are in line with previous actions by border state governors, calling attention to the Biden administration's immigration policies. The holiday winter storm has left some airlines scrambling to get back on track, particularly Southwest Airlines. Kirsten Mitchell has the details.
While other airlines did have some issues, it was nowhere near the scale of Southwest Airlines. You can tell by just looking at these practically empty ticket counters. But then over at Southwest Airlines, the agents are overwhelmed.
The only bags moving in Terminal 2 were headed to the back of the Southwest Airlines line, stretching from the end of the hallway to the ticket counter.
We didn't get any text or any message telling us it was canceled before we came.
Teresa and Larry's flight to Houston was among 83% of Southwest flights canceled Monday at MSP Airport. 70% were canceled nationwide.
Returning home for the holidays, we thought, today.
With stranded passengers, crews, and baggage, travel expert Kyle Potter calls it an airline meltdown.
Things are going horribly, horribly wrong.
He suggests anyone flying Southwest this week books a backup flight on another airline. If Southwest cancels, travelers are entitled to a full refund.
Even if it was a storm, the federal government guarantees you the right to cancel your entire trip and get your money back if the airline cancels your flight.
I was on hold for 6 hours. I literally fell asleep, woke up. I was still on hold.
Jacksonville State basketball player Masengo Mutanda is trying to make it to practice on Tuesday.
It's just been a long day, I'm just trying to get to where I'm getting to and just get some sleep before practice.
Remember this couple?
We're hoping we get something.
They finally made it to the counter.
We got a rescheduled flight for Saturday. No hotel voucher, and we just got $350 in coupons to fly again somewhere else.
A holiday trip extended nearly a week.
We'll have to figure out some kind of vacation plan for the rest of the week.
At MSP Airport, Kirsten Mitchell, WCCO 4 News.
And you certainly feel for all of them out there. Meanwhile, in a statement, the airline apologized and said it's working to, quote, urgently address wide-scale disruption by rebalancing the airline and repositioning crews and our fleet. Switching gears now, Minnesota environmental regulators are now requiring developers to calculate projects' effects on the climate. The state's environmental review process requires regulators to consider a project's potential impact on the land, air, water, and animals. On December 14th, the State Environmental Quality Board voted to have developers calculate how much carbon dioxide, methane, and other greenhouse gases that they'll pump into the air. Environmental officials have been working on this change since 2019, but have received pushback from business groups, farmers, and local governments who were warning that more regulations would raise building costs. Minnesota Democrats will control both the House and Senate for the first time in 8 years in the coming legislative session. That'll give them power to decide how to use the state's $17.6 billion projected surplus. It also means Democrats can pass bills Republicans have previously blocked. Some priorities for the Dems include protecting abortion rights, gun safety legislation, and legalizing marijuana. Minnesota's legislative session begins on January 3rd. And when the next legislative session gets underway in Wisconsin, state Republicans are set to clash with Democratic Governor Tony Evers yet again. How to fund local governments is the task at hand, and whether to expand the private school choice program to wealthier families. Despite having different views, state Republicans say they want to have a better relationship with Evers. The next two-year session, just like Minnesota, also beginning January 3rd. Leaders from Madison College and the Wisconsin Department of Corrections came together to celebrate the graduation of 9 incarcerated individuals. The ceremony was made possible thanks to the college's Second Chance Pell program. Graduates receive technical diplomas in electrical maintenance. The goal is for those students to gain the skills necessary to find job opportunities and a livable wage as they adjust back into the community.
I really hope that there are more programs like this that become available to inmates all over the DOC system, because it really is so beneficial to inmates to grow and improve themselves.
The DOC pays for the cost of the classes and the materials needed via a contract with the college, and the department also helps students find jobs after graduation. This busy holiday season, the U.S. Postal Service has delivered more than 10 billion packages and pieces of mail. It takes a lot of workers and a lot of technology. So how does the post office deliver mail? It's a good question. Heather Brown went to find out.
So it's 5 o'clock right now and you're still delivering mail.
Yes.
What time did you start this morning?
Started at 6 this morning.
By the end of the day, Bernie Schroeder will have delivered to 500 homes.
Oh gosh, is it always like that?
This time of year, yes.
He and the other carriers leave the back of the Eagan Post Office each morning with full trucks.
This is where all the trucks come in.
Dana Smith oversees the customer service.
When the carrier comes in the morning, they grab their packages.
Which they then sort by address.
They get all their other mail ready, and then they leave through that door.
The hundreds of letters Bernie will deliver that day have already been sorted the night before.
What we're doing is breaking it down, letters, parcels, flats, etc.
At a 90-acre mail processing plant a few miles away in St. Paul.
So this building will run all night long?
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
First, they flatten the pieces of mail that come from the trucks to the conveyor belt so they can be fed into this machine.
So this machine will flip the card in the right direction.
Correct.
It'll scan the zip code.
Correct.
It will also spray in orange an ID tag, and then will spray in black a barcode that holds all of the address's information.
How fast is this moving?
Fast. Roughly 32,000 an hour.
From there, the machine sorts the letters by location into 12 different bins. Those bins are then brought to other machines, which sort by zip code and finally individual address.
So what this machine does, it now sorts it by address.
Correct. Walk sequence for the carrier.
Which means the letters are now all in the right order for the carrier's route. At the same time, from above, the barcodes on packages are being scanned too.
Each bin has its own post office.
Right. It could go to Northfield, it could go to Eagan, St. Paul, whatever. So we'll run all night, all the way until the morning, roughly about 3:45.
So this mail will be on trucks tomorrow morning?
Yep, be delivered tomorrow morning.
Where Bernie will be waiting.
This time of year, it's fun when you're delivering all the packages.
Heather Brown.
They're like, oh, yay, it's here. Thank you. You made my day.
WCCO.
That makes you feel good.
4 News.
90 acres, that is an insanely impressive thing they have there. Switching gears yet again, all this week, we here at News 8 Now are looking back at our favorite stories of 2022. And this latest one might get your heart racing. Back in November, News 8 Now's Rob Schiff introduced us to a Holman golfer who's literally sprinting to success.
Playing 18 holes of golf is a relaxing day for most. It's a chance to catch up with some friends, have a few drinks, share some laughs. But for Luther Olson, it's golf, just faster.
I get back home and I just Googled golfing running, and speedgolfusa.com came out.
And that's when it all clicked for Luther. 3 years ago, the Holman resident decided to combine two of his hobbies, golf and running.
I get to play golf and I get done in an hour rather than 4 hours, which is great for family. I have a 9 and 11-year-old, and time with them is very valuable. I can't spend 4 hours on the course multiple times a week.
It's not your old-fashioned gentleman's game. Instead, speed golf combines the player's score with the time it takes to finish the round.
If you take your mind out of it, you don't have to stand over a ball thinking about what could go wrong, and it's just a lot of fun.
Among his peers, Luther may not shoot the lowest score, but his unique style makes him one of the fastest.
Speed golf is about speed, so you want to carry the minimal amount of clubs. You can't have a full bag lugging that around. Most guys carry 4 to 5 clubs. I use 2 clubs. 150 on in is my pitching wedge, 150 on out is the fairway wood.
So with just 2 clubs, Luther gave it a shot and decided to compete against the best speed golfers in the world. And lo and behold, he won the first competition he entered.
And I thought, I wonder if I could play with those guys. Even though I'm not a golfer, I was like, could I do this?
The answer was a resounding yes. Luther has competed in a dozen tournaments all throughout the country since 2019, winning 2 of them and consistently finishing in the top 5. It's become somewhat of a full-time hobby for the 47-year-old, a hobby he doesn't plan on giving up anytime soon.
Running out here 5-6 times a week when I'm 80, that'd be awesome. I'm going to be a lot slower. I'm going to be hitting a lot less. But to be able to do this sport until that time and to be in shape, that's what it's all about.
Luther ended up placing 19th at the World Championships down in St. Augustine, Florida.
Well, it sure is another cold start here this morning in the Coulee region as temperatures are at 5 in La Crosse now, 8 degrees in Eau Claire, and 6 the temperature currently in Sparta. We got a nice quiet start here from City Cam 8 behind me, as you can see there, but there are some clouds moving in around the Coulee region from the northwest, making things partly to mostly cloudy this morning, and the trend is that it will continue here as we head into the afternoon. 26 degrees for the high, mostly cloudy, but a seasonable day though, with south winds at 10 to 20. For tonight, mostly cloudy still, temperatures at 24, and south winds still at around 10 to 20 miles an hour. So for your drivecast out there, expect those conditions once again, mostly cloudy for the morning. The lunch hour looks okay, partly cloudy conditions there, and then skies will turn mostly cloudy again for your evening commutes, but no rain or snow chances in the forecast here, at least for today. But stay tuned though, we'll have a check on your weather forecast. We'll let you know if we do have any of those chances of that rain or snow. And we'll also talk about those warming temperatures ahead too. Ken?
I'm liking a lot of what Derek's having to say today. Coming up after the break, following a year of many successful video games, we'll take a look back on some hidden gems from the year 2022. That's coming up next in our Buzz Reports.
Well, it sure is a very quiet start this morning, as you can see behind me there from City Cam 8. As we take a look at those current conditions in La Crosse, it is cloudy here. Temperatures at 5 degrees. We do have a feel-like temperature of -12 when you factor in 13-mile-an-hour winds out of the south-southeast. Now, that southerly wind is going to be a key factor of what's going to happen here with our temperatures in the future. We'll get to that in a second. For now, current conditions to the north in Eau Claire also looking cloudy here for you. Temperatures at 8 degrees. We have a feel-like temperature of -5. That is from 9-mile-per-hour winds out of the southerly direction here as well. Visibility looking good though for you at around 10 miles. Temperatures in Sparta 7 degrees. Winona's checking in now at 10. Viroqua was at 4. Prairie du Chien down to the south at 3 degrees. Very cold all across the Coulee region, and wind chills make it feel like it's even colder. As you can see, it feels like 0 degrees in Sparta and a feel like temperature of 2 right now in Winona. Bundle up down south, even in Boscobel, Prairie du Chien. You're currently a feel like temperature of between 2 and 3. Our high temperatures today warming up into the mid-20s this afternoon, with highs around 24 in Winona today, 26 in La Crosse. A high of 22 is expected this afternoon in Sparta. A few clouds moving in across the Coulee region from the northwest, and they continue to move their way towards the southeast directly on top of us here this morning. And we expect that really to just continue off and on, partly to mostly cloudy conditions throughout the day. Temperatures warming up into the 20s by around the 4 o'clock hour, and that should continue as we head into the evening hours as well. You'll notice the clouds here moving in around the area off and on at times throughout throughout the day and also as we head into the late afternoon through the early evening. As we take you into tonight, maybe a few clouds, temperatures into the low 20s here or the upper teens. And as we take you into tomorrow morning, most of the clouds off to the north, some of us looking at some partly cloudy conditions, temperatures there into the upper 20s. But notice what happens to our temperatures during the afternoon. We're going to be warming up well into the 30s despite the abundance of clouds in most locations. And the reason being is because we expect some warmer air to move in, which we'll get to in a second. Now that warmer air, you're going to feel it tomorrow, 41 degrees and 40 on Thursday, and high temperatures will at least be into the 30s throughout the rest of the week, into the weekend, and also into early next week. Now the reason being here is because we are tracking a much warmer air mass expected to move in from the south and spread north across the upper Midwest, including us here in the Coulee region, as the system here to the west of us begins to bring us a more southerly wind component, and that's going to bring in a lot of warm air for us to work with, making our temperatures well above average from what they should be for this time of the year. And you'll see that here on the 8-day forecast as well, with highs into the 40s here, as we mentioned, by Wednesday, and at least continuing through Thursday. Now, it's going to be pretty cloudy, so don't expect a whole lot of sunshine, but that south wind is definitely going to be our friend to warm us up for a bit. There is a chance of rain here on Thursday that we'll be monitoring here for a while, and also a chance of rain, snow early next week on Monday.
In your Buzz Report this morning, a California judge says movie studios can be sued for misleading movie trailers. Two fans of the actress Ana de Armas sued Universal for falsely advertising its 2019 film Yesterday. They say they rented that movie after seeing Ana de Armas in the trailer, but her scene was actually cut from the final film. Universal said it was a creative, expressive work. The judge disagreed, and he ruled that the movie trailer's creativity does not outweigh the commercial nature of a trailer. One of sci-fi's most beloved small-screen heroes celebrates a major milestone. Doctor Who returns. David Tennant makes a comeback as the leading Time Lord in a special series celebrating the 60th anniversary of the popular sci-fi program. Fans will also notice Neil Patrick Harris as the show's latest villain when the three-part event premieres next November. With so many video games released this year, it wouldn't be surprising if gamers missed out on some gaming experiences. 2022 was packed with new releases, resulting in some being overlooked. One game experts noted was Tunic. Fans of the game praised Tunic for its great mystery and visual style, as well as being more challenging than it looked. Sifu was another game that brought a new aspect to the gaming world this year, a game that resembles John Wick, with endless adventure to fight some countless enemies. Time is now 6:48 a.m. Let's head to break with today's Look Who's 8, Derek.
That's right, Ken. We got a couple of birthdays to celebrate today. Our first one is to Amelia, who is turning 8 months today. Now, she's actually the granddaughter of one of our very own here on News 8 Now, and she is excited about her first tooth and will soon be crawling.
A happy birthday to Amelia and a happy 8 months to Echo. She is happy, playful, and snuggling.
Cute picture there. And if you know a special someone that is turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com. Look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website, and we'll see it. Stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your Morning News Now, coming up next. Time for your Morning News Now. Minnesota Democrats will control both the House and Senate for the first time in 8 years in the coming legislative session. That'll give them power to decide how to use the state's $17.6 billion projected surplus. It also means Democrats can pass bills Republicans have previously blocked. Some priorities for the Dems include protecting abortion rights, gun safety legislation, and legalizing marijuana. Minnesota's legislative session begins January 3rd. And when the next session gets underway, Wisconsin Republicans are set to clash with Democratic Governor Tony Evers yet again. How to fund local governments is the task at hand, and whether to expand the private school choice program to wealthier families. Despite having different views, state Republicans say they want to have a better relationship with the governor. The next session, like Minnesota, also beginning January 3rd. Police in Iowa fatally shot a 16-year-old boy they say was armed. It happened early Monday morning. Officers responded to a domestic dispute. When they arrived, they say the boy had a gun and pointed it in the direction of officers. More than one of the officers fired their gun at the boy, who died at the scene. One neighbor says he heard the shots and drove away as fast as he could.
I don't really know how to react to it. I mean, I'm sad, and I wish that it wouldn't have happened.
The officers have been with the department for 5 years. Their body cameras were recording. A Christmas morning fire destroyed a Genoa restaurant and claimed the lives of 2 cats. People in Big River Bar and Grill and the tenant in the upstairs apartment were also able to evacuate. Several area fire departments worked together to haul in water and put out the fire. It burned for close to 8 hours before it was completely out. The cause still under investigation. The recent stretch of frigid weather is also keeping local plumbers pretty busy. Below freezing temperatures can cause water in pipes to freeze, which will then cause pipes to burst. Joe Gunderson, the owner of 608 Plumbing, says the biggest issues he sees are pipes that are installed incorrectly or where they shouldn't be. Pipes in or near outer walls can freeze much easier. Gunderson says if a cold air breeze from a window is hitting your pipes, they could also freeze.
Insulation is going to be really crucial, but it's not going to go and do the trick 100%. You should also have a heat source. So if you have some place that's susceptible to going and getting a lot of breeze and a lot of air coming through where it might go and freeze up that pipe, make sure that there's some type of heat source there.
He also recommends keeping a little water running so it doesn't have the chance to freeze, and make sure you unhook those outdoor hoses. As the holiday shopping season comes to a close, it might be time to set some financial goals for 2023. Experts say as we head into a new year, there are some money moves to consider. They recommend deciding what kind of large purchases you want to make sooner rather than later, and then create a plan to pay for it. Tackling debt as soon as you can is also important to avoid dragging it into next year.
We see the feds raising the rates on interest, and so things like credit card debt, personal loans, anything that has a variable interest rate is going to cost you more.
Experts also recommend boosting that emergency fund of yours. Figure out the most scaled back amount you need to get by month to month, and then save what you can. Even a little bit goes a long way as long as you start now. The long holiday weekend is over, and if you are heading to the airport, be sure to check your flight status first. Some factors behind yesterday's air travel troubles will be around again today. FlightAware says Southwest had canceled about 60% of today's flights before the day even started. It canceled roughly 70% of yesterday's and says rebooking could take days. The National Weather Service has issued several new winter storm warnings, which are definitely going to impact those airlines.
Luckily here, Ken, we don't have any winter weather alerts to worry about here today, or really any time in the future for the Coulee region. High temperatures around 26, but that's nothing compared to tomorrow and Thursday. Low 40s, Ken. I think you'll like that. Some scattered showers are possible on Thursday, but otherwise cloudy skies. Highs at least into the mid to upper 30s to end of the work week and also into the weekend. And that should continue into next week too. Maybe another chance of rain, snow on Monday, but hey, I gotta tell you, this is a much milder change, welcome change that we're going to be looking at here.
Honestly, I could look at that 8-day for hours and hours and hours.
It's going to feel great, especially from what we just came out of last week.
I know, and I think we'd all be content to deal with a little bit of rain. It's you know, it's not a huge snowfall. It is not Buffalo, New York.
No.
We should be counting our blessings for sure that we're not getting that lake effect snow there. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day on news8000.com. We will, of course, have the latest updates to today's top stories on News 8 Now at noon. That's Derek Sibley. I'm Ken Kozorowski. Have a great rest of your day.